your ammo and sharpen your weapons. Cause life every second is a little more hectic. It's ashes to ashes and dust to dust. And it's just about that time for us to bust. So load up your ammo and sharpen your weapons. Cause life every second is a little more hectic. It's ashes to ashes and dust to dust. And it's just about that time.
Opening the portal, guys. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Hope you guys are having a wonderful day, night, whatever time it is. I hope you guys are doing great. If not, sending out vibes, positive love. Hey, guys, I'm Tino. I got the lovely
Alondra
over here. And today, we're going to just speak about, we were talking about X-Men, right? Or the X-Files.
No, we were talking about the X-Files and
Yeah.
French.
Yeah.
We were talking about if everything that we see on TV shows, movies, and stuff like that were real. Like,
Yeah.
mostly science fiction.
Yeah.
And, like, monsters and weird creatures.
And I think that here's I have a couple of problems with that, right? But I've been questioning before me questioning, because there's something about it that, I mean, so many people believe it, right? So many people believe like the all of that stuff and everything.
Yeah,
and
of course.
I think that I don't want to completely just come out here and just completely question all of it, because then I feel like there could be a possibility of that happening, and something like that's on my problem, like my fault, could be the self justification that I'm giving myself. So, for example, what that means is I can question a lot of things, but what that does is that doesn't let me hear the full other side.
Yeah.
Right. And so what that does is that could let you be like in a small hole. And so I'm just having trouble. Like maybe if that's what I'm doing with the X-Files, or because I want to say that like in just because people can I don't think there's enough evidence for that. Okay, so
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not enough evidence that it's true. But I'm like, at the same time, them putting it out there as something that supposedly happened but not really happened,
yeah,
something that's not true. But I'm like, how do you come up with the idea of something looking like that or something happening like that?
yeah,
You know, so it's kind of, it makes you think about it, and you're like, well, if somebody had the idea to make something about that, it's because he or she must have seen it somewhere, happened somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I kind of think like most of the stuff that we see on TV might be real.
wow. So like most stuff, or like
Most of it,
really
yes.
Yeah.
We just haven't seen it.
interesting.
We
So
just
the TV
haven't
is like
had
kind
the
of the
chance.
outlet to like show you all that
Yes.
stuff. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you when some parts like TV can be super educational, and informative about so many things.
Yeah.
Maybe not all the time. You know, some things I feel like they're kind of fake, like conspiracy theories. A lot of conspiracy theories out there. I don't know. Like Facebook has a bunch of them, especially with the coronavirus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
What do you mean about the?
I mean, people thinking that the coronavirus isn't like a real thing, or it's like an inside job, or
It's
stuff like
not.
that.
Okay, so my opinion to COVID-19 or whatever, I have a feeling that it wasn't something natural.
Okay.
That was part of something. It was, for me, I think it was man-made.
Right.
So they were doing something with it.
Yeah.
Accidents happen,
Yeah.
and they just went out and started getting a shit ton of people sick. So if you...
So I'm just curious, like, what's some of the things like you've heard about that stuff? Like, just.
Well, just in general, like, a lot of people when it first came out, because it was so, like, random, like, I don't know, like, weird. A lot of people were
Yeah.
saying that it was man-made.
Okay.
That it was made in a lab and just...
Just to refresh everyone, my like view on the coronavirus is that it came from Wuhan, from the what is it called, the animals that were getting like and stuff like that. That's what I think about it, but I'm just hearing out
Yeah.
his perspective on it and stuff like that.
I mean, it could have came from there, but,
Yeah.
I mean...
And the thing is that like I believe it was one of these days, but I actually heard it like on I think it was NPR, of there being trials of like viruses being man-made. Like that was a serious discussion being made. I was
my
like,
theory
damn, like
for
it could be
viruses
that.
being man-made are because not not the government trying to. It's a little hard to explain.
Yeah, no. Go ahead. Like, take your time. And...
It's just about that time for us to bust. So load up your ammo and sharpen your weapons. Cause life every second is a little more hectic. It's ashes to ashes and dust to dust. And it's just about that time.
So as I was saying, it's a little bit hard to explain because my idea of them having or this virus happening was the decrease in population.
What do you mean by that?
There's just a lot of stuff that has to do with that maybe this world is overpopulated now, and so so now the government or whoever it is are trying to get rid of certain amount of people so that the earth can
sustain like the what would you call like the government people or the people who are like elite and stuff like that.
Yes.
Is that what you mean when you say that?
Yes. So I think that's part of the reason why so many viruses are coming out now.
Interesting.
Because after COVID, there's this other one that came out which was called what, Delta?
Delta. I mean, they're all variants from COVID. You know,
Yeah.
Viruses being
Yeah, but how does that come
genetic.
from there? I mean,
Well, I mean, viruses are inherently they evolve naturally, you know, and stuff like
well,
that.
yeah, but I don't know. It's just weird. The fact that so quickly, just like it was COVID-19, now it's freaking Delta, and then the Omicron or whatever it's called, and then now it's Flurona or whatever. I'm like,
How does that happen? Like
I'm
you can't see how like
and then
Right,
each
okay.
of them
Yeah.
are even stronger than freaking COVID.
well, actually, the Omicron virus is actually a bit weaker, and we've seen less fatalities from that, and it's been higher in being able to spread amongst people, but it's been less fatal with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I personally believe that viruses are pretty easily being able to evolve and have new qualities all the time. Same with bacteria. Bacteria multiplies extremely rapidly. Last I heard, there was a running experiment on the theory of evolution where they started this just bacterias from like I think 1940s till up to now, where they just let them repopulate, and see how they change and stuff like that. Keep them in the same environment. And now we've seen since bacteria they go through life cycles so fast, they've gone through like millions and millions of generations of just bacteria going through just changes naturally.
Yeah.
And they've actually seen that the bacteria has evolved to be able to eat new types of food or being able to do all these like adapt to its surroundings basically and stuff like that. So like when I see that, I come to reason, well, I mean, there's like a experiment on like theory of evolution. We have a pretty great we have the theory of evolution gives us the predictive ability to be able to explain the cause of us and our history and all that stuff, you know. And I don't know, I feel like I can put that and say, well, the virus for coronavirus can kind of do that too. It can evolve, you know, because you know. So I'm just curious why you think like how is it man-made and stuff like that. Maybe not how, but like
another
how do you come to that belief?
Yeah. Well, another reason why I was saying that was man-made was because of how many. I mean, I know with every virus and illness and whatever, like people are going to die from it.
Yeah.
But I was talking to one of my friends yesterday,
Okay, cool,
and we were talking about this because there just a lot of stuff like with the COVID vaccine now, how you have to be vaccinated in order just for you to be able to eat in a restaurant.
So the mandate on stuff like that. Yeah.
So I'm like, that's kind of messed up in a way because...
Interesting. Why do you say that?
Because I'm like, people have their own choice of getting vaccinated or not.
Absolutely. The freedom to be able to do what you want.
And then now that if they're just making it even harder for people not to get vaccinated because...
Well, what do you mean by that? Yeah.
Because, I mean, for people... Wait, I don't even know how I said it.
I know some people are like, it's harder for them to get vaccinated.
I missed
No, that's completely fine. No, you're fine. Yeah. Mic check. Yeah, so...
I wasn't trying to say that, but...
No, that's fine. No worries.
I feel like it makes it harder because people that don't want to get vaccinated have to get vaccinated now. So it makes
Say,
it.
yeah, we'll say it again because the music kind of got on the way. But
Ashes to ashes and dust to dust, and it's just about that time for us to bust. So load up your ammo and sharpen your weapons, cause life every second is a little more hectic. It's ashes to ashes and dust to dust, and it's just about that time.
all right, guys, we're back, and so we have Alondra explaining us the reasons why for some people it's hard to get vaccinated and stuff like that.
Well,
So,
I
yeah,
mean,
just- yeah.
some people choose not to get vaccinated,
Yeah.
and not just for the COVID vaccine, but many other vaccines. You know?
Right. No. Yeah.
So for me, like, I choose not to get the flu vaccine because every time I get it, I get sick. So, like, why get it
Right.
if I'm still gonna get sick? You
Right.
know. But the COVID vaccine, it's been now that if you are not vaccinated, it makes it very, very, very hard for you to find a job, for you to go into places,
Yeah.
stuff like that. You know. So for people that don't want to get vaccinated, now they're basically
that option
being
isn't there.
forced
There.
to get vaccinated in order for them to be able to do the stuff that we would usually do without being vaccinated.
Right.
Now they're trying to make everybody get vaccinated so that they could do all of that stuff. But I mean, the vaccine doesn't mean that you're not gonna get COVID. I mean, you can still get COVID,
Right.
but
So I guess you have trouble with accepting the government or there being a law as to whether you have to take the vaccine, or if you don't take the vaccine, then you're banned from some certain activities.
because
And so, like, I agree with you that that's a pretty difficult thing to overcome. Like, let's say with any other thing, let's say that you have to take a test to be able to enter, I don't know, some public space right there, and that's mandated by the government, right?
yeah.
And so here we find ourselves like, hey, well, that can exclude a lot of people, and that used to be happening in the 1950s with the African American population and Americans were being able to vote. Some African Americans used to have to take a test that was extremely difficult and weren't allowed to vote because said, quote unquote, they weren't educated enough. And it's like, well, no, it's just that you're making these mandates to not be able to do activities that are necessary. Like, for example, African Americans are not allowed to vote. And well, they weren't allowed to vote because they didn't pass the test. And so that can lead to a slippery slope like that. That can lead to that. And I think that you're worried about it leading to more control, more
exactly, the control that
mandates, and
comes
more
with
stuff
it.
like that.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was telling my friend about that yesterday. We were talking about it, and I was saying, you know what, that's just programming people to
You say program.
yes, for like the future, for what's to come.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Because I mean, as it's going right now, there's 4 viruses that came out within less than a year.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, what's like, more of them are going to come out, and they're going to develop a vaccine for that. So you have to get vaccinated for that. And if you don't get vaccinated, you're not going to be allowed to be in many places as well.
That's a pretty big problem. That's a pretty big problem.
So it makes you think about it, and you're like, well, I have to get vaccinated in order for me to be able to go in those places, you know? I have to get vaccinated in order for me to work. Because now places, they require you to have the vaccine, and you have to be vaccinated if you want to work.
Well, Andre, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think the vaccine's a good thing, or is it kind of a... Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it works? Do you think
I feel
it's
like
effective in its job of being a vaccine?
I don't want to say it's not effective. I just would have said that our bodies would have been should have let our bodies kind of fight it, because that's actually kind of good for, like...
Right, and so I have a further question to you on that. When you say our bodies, do you mean like us being 20-year-olds or the majority of people? Because our bodies aren't the same as, for example,
our bodies
the majority
aren't
of
the
like all
same.
the world.
Yeah, I mean...
Right? I mean, so many people who are older have a lot of different diseases.
Well, yeah.
And,
Yeah. No, I mean, like, kind of like around like our ages, and like depending on our like immune system, like how strong it is.
Right.
Like, it would be a good idea for us not to.
Right.
Because believe it or not, whatever is in those vaccines, it affects our bodies in a certain type of way.
I mean, it's a vaccine. It has to.
Yeah.
It's a foreign, that's its purpose.
And sharpen your weapons, 'cause life every second is a little more hectic. It's ashes to